Hi, we're going to get started. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're very grateful to Segue Foundation, the reading series, and to Artist Space for inviting Feature Poem to curate April and May. And we have two amazing readers today, Susana Potts-Pineda and Peter Gizzi. So Susana's going to read first. We're going to take a really brief break, and then Peter will read after that. So I'm going to attempt to play a recorded message from Monica de la Torre, who for Susana, and so with Jay's help in the back, I'll see if I can pull this off.
Hi everyone, this is Monica de la Torre. There are multiple reasons why I'm absolutely delighted to be writing this introduction of Susana Potts-Pineda. She was, after all, my beloved student at Brooklyn College. It is all for the better that I sadly can't deliver it myself. She might find it a little too embarrassing. Susana was the kind of student whose sharpness and infectious enthusiasm makes you forget that when you're teaching, you're actually working. Besides having her in workshop, I had the luck of working with her in one-on-one tutorials, in which we focused in particular on key manifestos of the Latin American avant-garde. Best of all, she took a course of mine titled Ecstatic Alphabets, focused on interdisciplinary projects whose point of departure was poetry. I don't think anyone who took that course would be offended by my saying that Susana produced the best work in the class. She wrote hilarious religious plays in which the protagonists were all nuns, and for the in-class readings, invariably did a perfect job casting them. I distinctly remember her final project, a Sor Juana meets Richard Foreman short play aptly titled Dreams of the Future or the Ecstatic Visions of Sister Lisa. I find the beginning too tempting not to quote. Stone walls as high as the eye can see and winding ivy on Romanesque arches. A checkered black and white courtyard, a rose garden, a plum tree, and a cherry orchard in bloom. Statues all around, lush, voluptuous, with marble skin that breathes latent desire. Faint chatter of birds and perfect sunlight, a blue noon. Sister Rose. Today seems full of promise. Sister Mary. Today is the same as any other. Sister Rose. But today is more beautiful than yesterday. Sister Mary, every day is as perfect as the last. All days are meant for sober contemplation and quiet abnegation. Sister Rose, my love for today and its particular beauty is an expression of my godly devotion. Sister Mary, to love what is exceptional can incur a sort of drunkenness that veers dangerously close to irreligious rapture. One might readily refuse this temptation. One must go about the daily tasks. Remember that the reason you were brought here as children was because you were unusually timid and preternaturally disposed to the menial labor required of holy life, or because your parents were poor. Susana has a background in theater and performance studies at NYU, and this informed most of the truly genre-defying writing she produced during the MFA. She somehow seems to always have known not to prevent her restless imagination from engaging a variety of different modalities. Lineated lyrical poems, prose fragments, photography, prose poems that read like film treatments or museum captions, or occasionally even experimental fiction. Her references range from obscure downtown performance art to Herzog's movies, to Latin American Baroque and Neo-Baroque poetry, as well as the political movements of the 70s and 80s in the region. I'm not surprised that Susana's thesis manuscript, in order to extract the memory it is of course necessary to build the room, swiftly found a home with Future Poem, and it is forthcoming in 2026. I promise you, I had nothing to do with this. This is a book possessing the freshness that experimenting with a wide range of formal possibilities can bestow on the work, that is also confident and reverential in equal measure. There's nothing like it, as we will soon discover. In addition to being a writer, Susana is an artist and translator. Her writing has been featured in Kitchen Magazine, Global Performance Studies, Wave Magazine, and The Drunken Canal. Her performances in film have shown at Performance Studies International, Beam Center's The Lighthouse on Governor's Island, and the Orange County Film Fiesta. She is the current Latino Poetry Fellow at the Library of America. Please welcome Susana Potts-Pineda.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you to Monica via Dan, and thank you so much, the folks at Future Poem and Segue for having me, and I'm really excited to read with Peter today. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna get going. I'm gonna read, the first poems I'll read are from the manuscript, the book coming out with Future Poem next year. It's nice to have a podium. I remember everything, and I am unbecoming, un papelito tieso, as I drink the stiff, wool-clotted centuries, red weaving into and out of tus manos azules, hebras, ojos en el ombligo, naming everything. I remember not speaking English, evaporating sift of years, its residual, cragged spine, resin made bone or hand on the evening mantelpiece, an acropolis in pen droppings, husks, bird parts, memory rooms in spilt wax, receding cobalt architecture in brilliant miniature, my brilliant tiny sun in the orbit of my hanging eye, volcanic, soup, soft burn on my lips, my silver, ridge damage, black-holed countenance, my face containing all absences, my face remembered to you in a yellow afternoon, just past, just gone too. I remember everything, mi voz acuática, tu voz volcán y marfil and ashing into. So these next few are some of like the prosier pieces in the book. There's a series of museums and institutes where the poems take place, and these next two are about a museum of film stills. How will we find each other at the intersection of stills? I left a message here in the museum, but you still couldn't find me. I was rushing past all the dreams, and I remembered what I left behind at the institute, and I keep undoing the cracks in the floor and wondering where all the extra stills go, and wiping my mouth of its orange peel dust, and over again cursing and asking why you aren't here. You were supposed to. At dusk, at noon, in the Zócalo, in all the hotel rooms. I'm feeling the walls in the dark, and I think I'm no longer at the hotel, or the compound, or the institute, but now somewhere in the wall files of the museum, and I have become somehow very, very small or thin, of surface meant to be blasted upwards only, immaterial, nearly not quite, filled with signs relating outwards, and I am beginning to wonder, all the actors and places and props go when the show's all done, when they turn off the white of the projector. They're still there somewhere, aren't they? After all, someone yelled places through the megaphone at the very instant the still was laid on the stage glass. They had to run through a blistering storm of dust and particle, shouting through the dark, flesh thawing or remasking itself. They had to make their way from tiny to everywhere, coalesce into shape. Painful, and all of this in the blinding switch from black to, had to puff up their skin and pout their lips and unleash their hair and their fury. And they had to stand still, so still, remembering shape. Ah, yes, being in space, so good, so awful, while someone came and touched them and acted as if they had never been real before. They had to go somewhere after that, didn't they? The beautiful Swede and the detective and the Russian monk and me and you. I have to go somewhere from here, don't I? There's no way I'm just still. I can see, I can imagine past the dark, even though the corridors are narrow and I'm in a flat world made of flat surfaces, evoking something else entirely, recalling a whole world through rows and rows of acetate. The suite at the museum is Technicolor blue, and the red of her hair has been turned up too many notches. I'm saying this to you as I watch her offer herself to a cigarette. Ooh. She speaks only in vowels, a format most unlike her own language. I used to be beautiful, she seems to say, before they botched the surface. It's tragic to depend on the photosensitive membrane that suggested you before you could even think. One burnt ivory scratch, one misled correction, and your whole experience is fucked forever. Here, their bodies are not actor bodies, but tiny director bodies thought through darkness onto surface. One big man dreamt us. One Frankenstein of all the great men of cinema and their upended lives and their beautiful ex-wives. If I'm only a guest here, I'm not beholden to the same conditions, right? Or are we both as screwed as... Look, I shouldn't be here too long anyway, which is why I'm speaking to you in between takes. But the worlds snap into place surprisingly quickly, and who knows when former becomes format. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying for now, I'm body hidden in acetate. But what if after eating too many meals here, I become acetate hidden in... To say the catering service is surprisingly excellent, and in between shoots, they unload the steaming tin platters straight onto the floor, because no germs. The food has no form because we're in the dark, but it's a sort of warm, inoffensive mush that smells like all of our earliest memories of supermarkets. I have to say that the smoked herring is overpowering, and I find this a bit unfair as I can barely taste the corn, but in any, make do. And I've also become endeared to the Russian monk, sweet and blonde, who speaks in nodding ascensions and radiates a sort of warm flickering that sounds like, return to the first ever clamshell thing you knew, or here, beginning only. I think his smile holds a key to the puzzle. Something tells me he's seen the green room before and painted a code beneath the paisley in gold lettering, stunned-eyed cobalt icons, and flying swarms of bees, olives. And then this last one has to do with a seismology institute and a seismic technician named Juana. When I open the door, Juana's there already. Broadcast bands fall across her face, and her mouth is newspaper blue, a century of careful axes on a dotted plane approximating the where you are, where in the nearest moss mountain hideout, vines falling just right over the rocks and the mist, did you last unwrap a sandwich or peer into the dispatch? A loom of radio fibers hangs in overhead, determines length of hair, height, range of motion. When I drag her from the bathtub, she's thirsty, drowns the end of a bottle of bourbon in a few gulps, snatches the pack of Camels on the woven piano blanket, and puts one between her lips. Almost immediately, before even lighting the thing, she begins to wax poetic. I didn't expect this, seeing her in her fleece vest and ponytail. It's like she's an anthropology student and not a fault line recovered from a mountain. She stutters her name over and over, but I can't hear it even though I know it. Juana's drunk already, and she tells me that she's coming from the institute where she's obviously been all this time. I tell her that that's not possible because she was last heard beneath a basin where her calls crystallized into extractable information, and the whole crew was very thankful. I'm not readable or even a point really, she exclaims, even though while frowning, her lips form into a number. I have so much to ask, mainly, in which apartment were you living last? I've seen the room so many times, but they reconfigure daily. Sometimes you're in the ground level apartment and the beige carpet and the mahogany panels and the statuettes and doilies and brick exterior courtyard where it rains often behind closed curtains. But sometimes it's the one with the gray terrazzo floor, drafting table, mezzanine bed, and you smoked so many joints inside, it began to smell like pasture. As she becomes increasingly belligerent, I realize there's no point in talking. I feed her cheese and crackers and reheat some of the ajiaco that's been sitting on the stove, but by the time it's warm, her head has fallen on the table. So I gather her surprisingly heavy limbs and body and carry her to the empty room my brother slept in. So these next few poems are from a different section of the book that takes place in a kind of post-apocalyptic swamp. Hour of Desire. We had to begin at some point, but the architects were too worried that the whole structure would collapse onto itself and become something else entirely, become a dream no one could return or escape from. I was afraid of this too initially, but they told me, trust my instincts, as we had been here long enough to understand shapes change daily, even though occurrences are forever etched into a sky beaming its invisible furor. Even when we turn on all the lights, I wish sometimes they'd turn off the lights. I'm so tired of seeing, although the bog is like the most soft sort of beckoning I've ever. It wants me to touch the velvet of its decay, wants me to stroke all the dead, crisp little animals with my good, soft palm. It's so good the way the brown, black, mud undersides are just silver in this light. So good how even the surroundings call me into them, to the soft insides. I'd want to annihilate into them, yards of mangrove lungs and deerskin grafts, even though sometimes I pray they'd turn the lights off. There's no night, there's only night. I want to drink the night milk out of the silver coolers where they keep all the corn husks and the pearls. How did they find such gleaming, 10,000 miles away from sea? There are so many skeletons here, like, for example, shell bits and crystallized algae skin and coral scales and the ribside wave patterns of the whole world sinking into its last dream. Nocturne. A tight sun draws over and kisses the small red moon, brought to its feet by wells of proven night, night-proofed and incidental, its accident a smattering of bright seams and trembling nests, impure coordinates of distressed yellow limbs, and a song too drawn out to imbibe in its domesticated sphere, the realm of influence all but too clear under this rotunda, perfected dome of night, a scale imposed on the watchmen that guard eons of carbon acetate flourishing memory streams as they burn the film all morning and all night. Figures dance spasmodic on the screen, yellow embers outline deer in star shape, tendril glitter fractals an electric map, light cascades across the night screen, becomes as real as the watchmen forgetting altogether their burnt outline. It's in the milpa, and it rustles ever so slightly. While the men are distracted, a chorus of the barely animate emerges in the stillness. I'm right here. Can you hear me? I'd just forgotten myself, but remember now. My hair, husks, static. I can't remember if I was born here or if they dreamt me. Every night to center field, where on bare sky they've draped silver. Everything glitches cobalt, even though from down here the yellow is just a kind of gray. And anyway, sky is vaster than could have ever imagined and screen unspeakably small in proportion. It seems it's only there to teach us about contour and the limits of. I don't believe you. Do you believe me? I remember it was the animals that spoke first, the tlacuache, the spotted deer, and small mites in the gray. A woman speaks from behind the screen. She's so passionately tired. If only in the silver you could see the yellow of her hair. Her skin must have frozen over 100 years ago or so. It now streams metallic. Flecks of moist information fly down her cheeks. Data forms into secret black ridges. Wishes to kiss her parched mouth. It was the deer who looked at me and told me I was just beginning. He'd lived 7 lives already, and the men were there from the start. Even when his early eyes peered from behind the sticky veil of blood and mucus and the bones which were just barely rigid, cracked painfully into being, he could still see them. And even though I've only been here for a few seconds, like the fly and the nighttime, no one had to teach me how to fear them. And then everything is still. except the constant electric rustle of the enclosure. Inside the clearing, in the middle of the cornfield, a gathering of stones and mice. What are the forms that could speak if they could? The later versions only flash. Future art. In this way, there's a local nature to the side plane where blue and gray facades lead to one triangular window where I sit well at ease because I know the world is small and made of only these few things. Of the tall composite wall overlooking the narrow street where the city is at large all around, but not here. A suggestion or a dream into which we go sometimes and where we do timely, expansive things dressed in the current with correct feel on the pulse, under the sun and in the cold, but never in the episodes of relevance. In the episodes of relevance, I am always by the large triangular window in the blue-gray apartment, drafting with charcoal and pastels the slant lines of a blueprint pending. In the upturned feeling of the looking, men in yellow and gray eat under the meek light of the afternoon in winter. I had a dream like this once, where I tore past the window, and I told you, this is all there is, or we are here for this time and another. There is placidness to the watching, and it's not like the sun will be gone in a few short. It's not like I won't be young in a few. It's not like the hours and years, but like the light that traces a clockwork spin upon Mina's command. Who is she but directing the moment, with fur caught beneath the floorboards and oven? It's her green eye telling time. When I watch the yellow and gray, I am saying the moment by painting. My eye is painting, and in the above, I am close enough to be alive, I think, at least enough to see you later. And here, the testament I'll take you when you ask me what I did today, tomorrow, and the hours you were working. It's like this in the drifting downwards, too. There is something ancient in the layer, something of the former in the architect's suggestion of earth, pit, and ladder, and most of all in the gesture of big wooden ladder next to small metal ladder, in the shape and beige of the brick, like skin, like early dust rehearsed underneath the bed and speaking to the floorboards in a moment that is not mine, but is somebody's. An early south, early visions of a settling morning in this former, not mine, a dress that is scratching the back of the neck. Meanwhile, mine was cathedral, and the holy smell quiet, the suggestion of something in the water like dead, like ash, like sacred, is an act of keeping you from disgust, and in this keeping contains it. And it's the beige of the brick and the photographs too, next to the cathedral by the birds. All is smiling and an ecstasy which is only the past, corroded and frozen. All this is unrecovered, as what I'm left with is this not so quiet, which at least is mine, as I look out at this beige, this brick, this earth, pit, and ladder. So these next few are newer poems that aren't in the book. January. I sat by the house with the disparaging sparrows, able to tune to a frequency and obfuscate the memory of my having been there, triangulating to the western side of the cross or the glacial mountain, slowly surmising faraway walkers on its stanchions, passes underwritten by frost and occupation, preconceived notions of cinema, awry graphings, instantiating monuments of light, starred, rectilineal, vertiginously cold, real and unbothered. But the sky that day had looked as if painted blemish pink or a blue porcelain flash, ink under tempered glass. Bracken establishes night, its monument and a steady ocean movement between two standing boats or the continent, trading its value in kumquat, avocado, and nightmare, while an endless silk weaving, soft, nacre paths lead not into the past but to its flushed umbilical center, passive traces of white light on blown cave walls or shallow coves, desert hills bent into sea, undergrid, neural damage, this late hour, a harshly visible seagull, all this elsewhere, under code, ambiguously waiting for signal. Bell speak. Before I was anybody and already fully myself, he looked at me with the particular insanity of That year, my birthday was on a Wednesday, or a month when lilacs bloomed a gold rush filled to the Atlantic. Latterly, orcas moved, bellied out under stiff clumps of green hearsay. That particular movement, unknowable to me and her, who were asked to fill in the details with sordid, ached testimony. A blue so flailed it declared itself a shore sung to anybody but us, the lilacs poisoning all premises littered by the strident gold fence, and slowly a wall of water so lived in it burst the glass of day. These next two are kind of inspired by like histories of Marian visions, like when people see the Virgin Mary. More so this next one. Bring me to the window and ask, when does it come to you? Is it a blue mountain or a blushing expanse? Are you most preoccupied with the details or the general shape? In most cases, I am unambiguous. I research from before and wait for movement or light to have a sense. Don't have a sense. Do you? Yesterday the stars are a map, and tomorrow they were a feeling. I see my face in the stars and the sea for the first time, like a navigator holding his breath through the fog, because it took 5,000 years for the first vision of the world to take shape, for the stars to become prophecy, then veil, then dust. I am senseless and unreadable, just like the ancient stars in the modern. I refuse to help you sail a calm ocean, much less an angry one, and yet the brightness of my apparition was etched brown on a yellowing cloth. I appeared to the roses as presents, recognizable in every iteration as the one who lived long ago and whose first bones are now stones in the desert. Think of the dust of my bones and my bonelessness, my follower, my fan. Like the spine slipped out of a fish, I am her in all my versions, and in this one I am inextricable from the peel of the rose and from the light of the garment. In this version I am analog, granted presence by the rose. What glimmers in every year, every window? I had brought it here as if a candle to look up at the peaks of 61st in the cloudy summer mornings, to examine what my life had been from all the angles. But the people believed and continued to believe despite all doubt and all recurring processes. In that other time, I had been a gesture, now abandoned. The spoons still dangle on the edge of every cup, and bottles slide unnoticed on unvarnished tables, but I am none any longer. I walk in the red dance of this life among the people and the squirrels, watch the beaming shrubs and the pale geometric sands and the infinity of city parks, stare at the boats as what has been, soft smears of passing light, dangle at the golden entrance, metropolitan like a napkin or the subway steam, and tell the story as if it had already happened, as I have happened to myself. And the cool completeness of the past is in all of it, its potential, like when she hands me the disposables still in the primer yellow of their folder, defunct and gone now, just like the highway. Everything here is silence and potential, and it's gray in just the way I used to like it, even if I have no memory of the much larger life I used to live, one inhabited by grace and artists. I catch her in the blank of every corner, in the rushed impressions of the faces and the prints that hang on orchard, how they so often make a woman, in this hush of red and pink and black where the hair is just like Anna's, even though I never saw her that way, even though I saw her. As rippling as my other life, where my face was but a mirror or a texture or the shudder of the trees that shake the light off their own leaves into the arms and the facades where they disappear just at the brilliant moment they are seen. And then I'm going to end with this one, which is also from the book, actually. Reef seduction. It's 4 p.m., always night, and I've eaten 2 spoonfuls of yogurt with honey. I'm reaching across the techno-eyed chasm, phone line a crinkle in pink towel. I'm sorry, I just got really angry about something, small, vague, and bristling, while in the shower, and my displeasure is an animal that burrows, confusing dirt for ocean. But now I'm seeing something different in my dream of a kitchen, because where the linoleum meets the rot, I draw the boundary around what's most conveniently myself, What of the everything counts as me can be the dotted hemorrhaging that you trace across the onslaught of streaming time and passing scales, congealing bitter prints on walls. Mother of pearl and tinted paper, as green as this moment, a woman in a hat of mourning tells me. But I'm alone in my kitchen, decidedly not dreaming. I'm making myself up to please you and you to me. And in this exchange, there's the alive of the not yet decorative machine that stamps out water damage as doilies and shattered impulses as cocktail glasses in a tan, carpeted set where sex and something else terrible has happened. I am an impulse of some deserted, dreaming fish, as large as the earth, under the water and the stars, gray, mottled, bellicose, and peaceful. And this phone call, it dreamt the phone before the phone. It dreamt the pink evening cord that swims across the cellophane dark to tell you, I'd really just like to sit somewhere with people and eat something for dinner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susana. We're going to take a very brief 5-minute break, come back to hear Peter. And if you haven't, for those of you on Zoom who haven't had a chance yet to tip or donate to the readers, everything goes to the readers, or any of you here haven't had a chance to do that, please do. And please come back in 5 minutes for the reading. right, we're going to get started again in just a minute, so if everybody can get their seat.
Here he comes, the boy who tried to vanish to the future of us is no longer here with his sad blue eyes. Here he comes, he floated away, and as he rose above reason, he rose above the clouds, he was 7 feet high. Here he comes, the night is like a glove and he's floating like a dovelet catches the wind in the deep blue sky. Here he comes, the boy who tried to vanish to another time is no longer here with his sad blue eyes.
Okay, good. Yes, I'm coming down the stairs. We're just waiting for Peter. Or I thought I could do an audio. Maybe I should do an audio intro. To mimic Monica. I'm so easily influenced. We could tell jokes.
There are no poetry jokes.
That cannot be true. Just a second, Peter, no worries. It's like church. It's a snowy afternoon in western Massachusetts. Peter Gizzi is behind the wheel of his 1998 Camry, calm but straining to see through the blizzard and the fog. Emily Dickinson is riding shotgun. She's on edge and grips her seatbelt, staring stone-faced straight ahead. Peter reassures her, I've been on this stretch of highway 100 times, it's okay. He tries to talk to her about Jack Spicer. She's not having it. He tries to talk to her about Walt Whitman. She rolls her eyes. They exit Interstate 91 and agree to talk about their favorite horror movies. Peter is in a skiff off the coast of Salem with a young Robert Creeley and an even younger Rimbaud. They talk about the true origins of the prose poem. They talk about the best vowels for prose poem. Rimbaud's shoulders are burning. He asks Peter for the sunscreen. Better late than never. Peter is on a flight, window seat, with Lorca, a little turbulence. Lorca spills a bit of his orange juice on his keyboard. Peter, who tends to get a runny nose when flying, takes out a small packet of tissues, and together they dab the keyboard. Success. They complete a crossword puzzle that they started pre-boarding. Peter Gizzi is my generation's ambassador to poetry. He welcomes poets, studies them, teaches them, writes about them, and invites them into his own poetry. Last year, Peter Gizzi was the 2024 recipient of the T.S. Eliot Award, one of our own, yay. And among his many books and critical writing, recent book, Fierce Elegies, which was the book that won the award, is published 2023 with Wesleyan Press. It is a book not unlike Peter's other work of inward inquiry and meditation. In the poem Dissociadelic, he writes, "There's something quite different inside the song, blurs, gestures, something loved, come as you are, collapsing and thriving, with endings like beginnings." Please welcome Peter Gizzi to the Segue series at Artist Space.
I've known Rob since, I don't know, since forever, right? Since we began. So thank you. I never drove a Camry though, come on. That's like grandmother's car. So I've made a reading through, don't worry, I have books here, but I'm not gonna, I'm making a reading through these because why does a reading always have to be, what have you done for me lately, Like we write these poems and what, they disappear? So it's been interesting for me to try to weave a reading going through my work because it kind of lets me know that I actually had a life. And then I want to thank Susana for your reading, right? It's so lovely. I looked online at your poems, as I said, and I was excited to read with you. Congratulations. Because ultimately, what is this? Poetry is like, it's an art of welcoming people. It's what we do. You talked about that. It's what we do, right? It's the art of being closer. So, here we go. I might not talk a lot. I might just read, which is probably useful. Find spot unknown. Thus far we have spoken only the codes, a litany of survival. Thus spoke the silvered asphodel next to the factory ruin. Sound carries on water. My subject is the wind, to take umbrage at what a tree can do, watching one single birch become lightning, stunning the sky. Landscape is a made thing, to see the mind seeing itself, to see thought, a wing in night, the long brooding, take it. Listen, the night is orchestral when the power's on, everything disporting, a furred wand upon nothingness. I get it. It was good to leave the world, to find myself in thou. There's a lot to be said for seeing in the dark and more to the light when there's nothing to see. If I write about the moon, it's because it's there. I am landlocked, surrounded by rivers and lakes, pills and leaves. I saw a better life. It was far off, sun on moss next to a friend, the softening air, the dandelion fluff. It was kinda real and kinda not. Can't see it today. And out of nothing breath, a beast-like shadow in the glass. If I brought back every feeling I had, where would I put them? What could they mean to this world on the floor? It was best to let the moon unravel and focus the truth of the music. It was best to let the music unravel and focus the truth of night, like when I found you in the back of my mind. I am talking about people in the night, people inside the night and what we are made of, the things and the people, the signal and its noise. Let's not do that. You know why? Because it's like, I want to, elegy, right? To me, it's atmosphere, it's environment. It's mystery. I could go on, but I won't. But I just want to see if I can go somewhere with you, if we can go somewhere together. Okay. Here's a poem from 2000. Revival. It's good to be dead in America with the movies, curtains, and drift. The Muzak and the theater. It's good to be in a theater, waiting for the best years of our lives to begin. Our first night back, we're here, entertaining a hunch our plane did crash somewhere over the Rockies, luggage and manuscripts scattered, charred fragments attempting to survive the fatal draft. To be dead in America at the movies, distracted by preview music and dimming lights. I never once thought of Alfred Deller or Kathleen Ferrier singing Kinder Totenlieder. It's good to be lost among pillars of grass. I never once thought of My Last Duchess or the Pines of Rome. Isn't it great here, just now dying, along with azaleas, trillium, myrtle, viburnums, daffodils, blue phlox? It's good to be a ghost in America, light flooding in at this moment of never coming back to the same person who knew certain things, certain people, shafts of life entering a kitchen at the end of an age of never coming back now. To hear reports on the radio, something about speed, they say, accelerated history. It's good to share molecular chasm with a friend. I never once reached for Heisenberg or the fall of the Roman Empire. On this day in history, the first antelope was born. Remember the yearling? Like that, but the footage distressed, handheld, a hard-closed linear world at the edge of caricature. No memory now of the new science or on the origin of species. It's good to feel hunted in America, to be the son of a large man who rose out of depression and the Middle World War, poverty and race, to loom in mid-60s industrial American air, survive classic notions of the atom to think to be. The official story walks down the street, enters bars and cafes, plays, airs, stars. To sing a song of industry, having forgot Monty Cliff was beaten for reading Ulysses. It's dark in a theater, hoping to say, never return to the moment of return, as a hollow ring from Apollo 13 sinks back to burn into the atmosphere which made it. How come all the best thoughts are images? How come all the best images are uncanny? What's the use of the complete angler searching for effects at the bottom of a lake, next to a shoe slicked with algae at the base of a cliff with pine needles and a rotting log? I was talking about rending, reading, rewriting what is seen. Put the book down and look into the day. I want an art that can say how I am feeling. If I am feeling blue sky unrolling a coronation rug onto the bare toe of a peasant girl, with vague memories of Jeanne d'Arc or that transformation in Cinderella. Where is your mother today? I think of you, soft skin against soot. How much has the world turned since you were a girl in Troy? In these parts, both widow and banker are diminished. Something outside the town defeated them. In these parts, neither possess their life. This pageant demands too much, that we work and not break, that we love and not lie and not complain. It's good to not break in America, to behave this time, never once looking into Chapman's Homer or quoting the Vita Nuova translated by Dante Rossetti. No, I'm thinking blurry faces, a boy, girl, looking at New York Harbor for a first time, soil in pockets, missing buttons, needing glasses, needing shoes. It was war, a capital experience, investing in narratives of working up from the mailroom, basement, kitchen. It's good to believe in the press kit, sailing away from rear projection tenements like a car ride after a good fix, offset by attractively angled shots, neo-cartoonish with massive distorting close-ups, part lockdown, part interest rate, part plant, part machine, part dazzle. Lulls in high sensations. I always wished I could be funny, ha-ha, instead of, he's a little funny, if you get my drift. Just courage to accept the facts that poetry can catch you in the headlights, and its years refocusing the after-image, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. This part untranslatable, part missing line, feather in the chest. A description to account for the lack of detail the wealth of nations conducts on the organs. We look forward to serving you here at Managed Health Network. Thank you for calling. Call volume is still exceptionally heavy. If this is an emergency, all the codes have been compromised. This is why the boy can't fathom polar lights, liberty, merry dancer, ineluctably the privileged nostalgia of a toy boat. In the diagram, did the vessel survive? Like an old book, even a beloved book, its pages give way to a good sneeze. What have they done? I sit here thinking of your monuments, trophies. Here are my flowers. What do they smell like? Paper. What does it mean to wait for a song, to sit and wait for a story, for want of a sound to call my own coming in over the barricades, to collect rubble at the perimeter, hoping to build a house, part snow, part victory, ice and suns balancing the untrained shafts, part sheet music, part dust, sings often. The parts open, flake, break open, let go. Why so phantom searching for a rag to embellish the holes in my sonnet? No tracks leading beyond and back, no more retrograde song cycle tatting air. These parts wobble, stitching frames to improvise that document all this American life. Strike that, all our life, all our American lives, over and out, on your way, dust. Crazy, right? That's me. I wrote that during the Bush administration. I haven't been able to write because I'm just fucking exhausted and overwhelmed. It's like I'm outmatched. Okay. This is kind of like an Ars Poetica, small poem. Archaeophonics. I'm just visiting this voice. I'm just visiting the molecular structures that say what I am saying. I am just visiting the world at this moment, and it's on fire. It's always been on fire. I'm saying this, and it's saying me. That's how it works, seesaw-like. The archive in the mouth, and the archive is on fire. That's the story. The sun in the body and the sun. It was like this, just like this. The world that's coming toward me and the world around me. Around me are words saying this, saying fire, saying something, or all of it. Another crazy poem. It's called Apocrypha. I love the word Apocrypha. It's got cry in it. But it's also, a non-canonical text, a text of dubious origin. This is kind of like a testament. Apocrypha. Wisdom is a kindly spirit, but does it love me? And righteousness, there's nothing in it. To poetry, I leave my senses, my deregulation, custodial duties, and to be a janitor is a great consolation. It gave me my mother back through all her years. To love these children so full of neurons and consciousness, what joy to clean up and put a shine on their mess. To my mother, I leave my veil, my wing, the window in time, I, artifact. I leave the voice, the wonder, the mirror, and my lens, bent and beholden to the worm, leaf work and wrought iron, eerie illuminations, and deep sea vision. I've seen the Eurostar, the drunken boat, and Davy Jones' locker. I've seen Spanish galleons in the HS Moberly covered in brine. There is this line from cloud dander to the solo bulb of morning, a string through common prayer. I like it when the gray-green shadows suddenly day-glow over the rushes, the wind in my head. To write is an equal and opposite reaction, my comrade, communard. What is it finally thinking what in winter's dusty alcove? The body talks, the day was cloudy, the light muddy, dreary when they took it down. To Times Roman, I give my stammer, my sullenness, my new world violence, form and all that, forms and all that paper, gusts, little buttress. I send love and weapons to everyone possessed with night visions. When those green lights flash and blink, is that it? When the it continues strangely for a bit, then falls into a line, is it over? I quantified daily the wonder in the grain. I found I was over and singular, yet many, the many and the singular, the many and the evolutionary, the many in the grain, many more. Who in hell am I writing for? This vision is silly, teenage and mine, a spot on the negative, a hole in composition. I quantify, I loaf, I wonder, I find, I rev. Here the day's mud, night is a satellite, and anger my cleft, my birthmark and star. Anger might be a better way to say, I love you, truer than, how are you in space? Are you cold? Can I get you a blanket? To the pole star, I leave my alien regalia, my off-world headdress. I leave acoustic forms in time, blooming, sudsy, inconsolable. If you are unsatisfied, then welcome. Here there are people working every corner of every inch of grass. The meticulously arranged outside reminds me of ocean and feels old. In space, the letter forms I love oscillate in waves. I lose myself in waves, speaking the half of me that forgot to say goodbye when I meant to say, how come? Memory continues to bloom. More songs about death and dying, songs of inexperience. More songs about being and loss, being in loss. More songs about seeing and feeling. If you are critical, all the better to see and to miss it, to misunderstand, to fail at empathy and love, to not understand love and to love, to be dis-everything and to love whatever. To mercy I leave whatever. You with me? All right, good. You ever feel crazy when you give readings? It's like, okay. Here's another bright poem. See where I live. Speech acts for a dying world. A field sparrow is at my window, tapping at its reflection. A tired antique god trying to communicate. It's getting to me. As I set out to sing the nimbus of flora under a partly mottled sky, as I look at the end and sing, so what? Sing, live now, thinking, why not? I'm listening and receiving now, and it feeds me. I'm always hungry when the beautiful is too much to carry inside my winter, when my library is full of loss, full of wonder. As the polis is breaking and casts a shadow over all of me, thinking of it, when the shadows fall in ripples, when the medium I work in is deathless, and I'm living inside one example of stubbornness as my head is stove in by a glance, as the day's silver tip buds sway in union, waving to the corporate sky when I said work and meant lyric. When I thought I was done with the poem as a vehicle to understand violence, I thought I was done with a high-toned, shitty world, done with a voice in its constituent pap. Called down the inherited phenomenal world when it's raining in the book, lost to the world in an abundance of world, like listening to a violin when the figure isn't native but the emotion is. When everything is snow and what lies ahead is a mesmer's twirling locket. I thought I was done with the marvel of ephemeral shadow play, the great design and all that. I thought I was done with time, its theatricality, glamour, guff. Gusting cloud, I see you. I become you in my solitary thinging here in partial light. When I said voice, I meant the whole unholy grain of it. It felt like paradise. Meaning rises and sets, now a hunter overhead, now a bear at the pole, and the sound of names, the parade of names. You quoted this one. Title says it all. Where we are. Dissociadelic. To be a desperate player in the invisible world, this is something different. To have crossed over into ink and to loiter and bleed out on the occasion of the universe. I've learned this. My spirit broke long ago, so I won't be broken. This is something quite different inside this song. Blurs, gestures, something loved. Come as you are, collapsing and thriving with endings like beginnings when 8-ball says, ask again. When the day reveals the prismatic systems of loss, a blinding shimmer on new blacktop in a sun shower. Everything always in black. Black wax, black dress, black hole, whatever. When you're brought to your knees, sing a song of praise. When you're gutted, embrace the whirl. FTW. There's nothing like it. This one has a different movement to it. It's called nimbus. Nimbus is a word I love. It means many things. And most of them are phenomenal. It's just a series of fragments linked. Nimbus. In this hand, a chromosome, the mystery of the ordinary, becoming the me and I. A rosary ready to turn a hunger for real things like a wave, to salute the real when twilight comes on. Breathe in, breathe out, an archetype calling to it, the earth in orange light, a regalia of lost music, no more alive than me. This is not a small poem, everything in starlight, thin snow, fragile and dream-lapsed, warped by wind or anything made of waves, like my body, and the rest of the day, Monday and April, pierced like an echo, outlasting me, as if nothing could polish the sky, where the present and phantom touch, where mirrors, etc., turn like weather. It's so random becoming a self. the secret to my own piece of sky, behaving as clouds do another day, a macular blue, white, steel, a swatch of green, the afternoon reflected green, wavy, transparent, and shadows turn nothing to nothingness. Enter the O in breath, an antiquity of thought. A notebook opens. There are windows in the notebook and a road, birds, houses, trees, etc. Hunger for the word flower where bees work the bell. It is the eye that creates a world, accepting rain and punishment, the yellows and oranges, the green time, the physical. Some days it's a blue world, a buzz of flies, somewhere music, this dance of the actual, giving itself to the eyes. A reflecting surface designed for survival, every glance some circumference of shadow, calling into the psyche's paper blue, hieratic light. Cardinals flaunt their red into a gentle rain, soft and constant, when elsewhere becomes an image, a thing to live with, a worn feeling, an old force softening glass. Is there more sadness in beauty than beauty in sadness? The fluorescent afternoon sang. This poem is really rooted where I live in western Massachusetts in the Connecticut River Valley, which basically it's a privilege to write where Emily Dickinson lived and wrote for so many reasons. Basically, I think she's sending us occult messages. So it's called That I Saw the Light on Nonotuck Avenue, which is a street near where I live. That I saw the light on Nonotuck Avenue, that every musical note is a flame, native in its own tongue, that between bread and ash there is fire, that the day swells and crests, that I found myself born into it with sirens and trucks going by out here in a poem. That there are other things that go into poems like the pigeon, cobalt, dirty windows, sun. That I have seen skin in marble, eye in stone. That the information I carry is mostly bacterial. That I am a host. That the ghost of the text is unknown. That I live near an Air Force base and the sound in the sky is death. That sound, like old poetry, can kill us. That there are small things in the poem, paper clips, gauze, tater tots, knives, that there can also be emptiness fanning out into breakfast rolls, macadam, stars. That I am hungry, that I seek knowledge of the ancient sycamore that also lives in the valley where I live. That I call to it, that there are airships overhead, that I live alone in my head out here in a poem near a magical tree, that I saw the light on Nonotuck Avenue and heard the cry of a dove recede into a rustle, that its cry was quiet light falling into a coffin, that it altered me. That today the river is a camera obscura bending trees, that I sing this of metallic shimmer, sing the sky, the song, all of it, and wonder if I am dying, would you come back for me? I wrote that when I was taking care of my brother who was dying of ALS. In fact, most of Now It's Dark was written then. Some books are more, most poems are expensive, what can I say? This picks up in the last line of that poem. I'm good to ghost. It was also Orfeo the other night, when the face you carry is not your own, and the history in this is a history of haunted ground. The world is a veil. Its effects total the imagination. What have I been doing without me all this time? Don't know if I want to anymore. I wonder distance and its discontents. I trouble distance nevertheless. The poet is a buzz. The poet becomes a bug in air. How did I lose you between the rug on my floor and the sun setting out the window, between the radiator and a dusky kaleidoscopic light? To wander that light, ingenious before dark, to wonder the beautiful so close to death. Where do you go when I don't see you? Or who am I when you're not around? Two more. Don't worry, I'm not going to read like my long poem. I hate that. It's two more. This one's like 60 pages. We've all been there. Particularly there's like 4 people reading on the dais. It's like, okay. Okay. Here we go. Ecstatic joy and its variants. As surely as this is about seeing you dance naked, it is also about the sky and Mahler in the wan distance heard by a child. As surely as the sadness never leaves and that music heals the night with its deeps and neon. As surely as the glow of the radiator at 3 a.m., a line of inquiry, souvenirs, a signature for the sun. Oh, bed of stray barrettes, discourse and water. Bed of laughter, hot takes, dried blood. Bed of cedar boughs, pinhole light, thing, music. Surely this is about water jetting from a spring, a languid rafting with no particular destination, as the old arguments, humans, how they rhyme, stutter, get lost. This is also about conversations with the dead, the only honest definition of silence. Surely you are not listening to the words I am singing about the last day of my life, the gift of blood, the perfect text. Are not all the sounds on my lyre about you? Like a seam through the sky, glitter, sometime youth. Surely this is about the one thing you do to me, places not even music is touched. And in my outrage, I am immortal. Because I love, I am here. So thank you so much for coming. Lovely to share the day with you. Big thanks to James Sherry, who's been doing this series since the 70s, since the Ear Inn over in the West Village, where I used to go. I used to be young, in my youth. It's been happening all these years, and happily I've read through all its manifestations. So thank you, James. Okay, last poem. It's not long. But the heart, in a sense, is far from me, floating out there. Hold on to the afterlife of the beloved. It's the only thing that's yours. Hold on to whatever magic in the backyard where we bury our thoughts, things of the world like an afterlife of the world to bury our setting outness. It's right to extract bone from the afterlife, dust collecting shoes, relics of the afterlife. Cut a hole in the poem to play peekaboo with the afterlife. Rebuild my house out of sky, blur my memoria into song. Make my headdress the right size to salute the emptiness alive in the beloved, the humanness of the beloved and the night sky. Shapes floating out there, becoming the beloved, the abstract, the total. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you, Susana, again. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Next week, we have John Keane and Laura Mullen. Artist Space has generously lent us the space for these readings. They've kindly asked us to escort ourselves out by 6:30. So if we could get your help with that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.